Hey, what's up, guys? So we're gonna be back with another one today, and I actually had a thought process on something. Um, I was driving through town the other day, and I was noticing at some of these quick lube places that you see, like in front of your local Walmarts and your Sam's Clubs and all of that, that they would have little ad signs out front that said uh, free battery checks. And I was thinking to myself, it is good to always know if your battery is in good shape or not, but it's something that you could do at home by yourself really easy. So I think it's really kind of a way to get you into their shops, just so that you can kind of, you know, hey, while you're here, let's get your oil change type thing, or just check those fluids or whatever. um, but it really got me thinking, so I thought today maybe we would just go ahead and do a quick short video, and I can show you how you can just check the battery at home, uh, either basic tools or no tools at all. Uh, and then also, I don't know if you noticed or not, I actually got my logo put on a t-shirt. I think it's really cool. A good friend of mine did it for me. This is the first one. It's the only one for right now. Kind of a prototype. Real nice black shirt. Nice little logo on the shoulder here. We're doing a couple of test samples to kind of see how that works out. So might see some t-shirts and things like that in the future. But yeah, I love it, and we're going to be I'll be wearing this in pretty much every video I do until I get a new design, which we're working on, kind of in the prototype stages, but we're going to see how they come out. But anyway, so right here, we're just going to use this battery as an example. So a quick way to do it is with a multimeter. So if we go zoom down here on this, if I turn that over here to this little icon right here, that's volts DC. That's an alternating current, or direct current. AC is alternating current, so it means that the voltage is going directly to the battery, and then the battery is kind of doing its own thing. So but anyway, you put it over here on DC, and you take this and make sure it's not touching down there, and you would turn it to 20. And so then what you would want to do, if I can do this one-handed, you got a black and you got a red. So take that, touch that there, and actually what I'm going to do, or try to do, see if I can get a reading this way by just kind of setting that there real carefully, and then touch this side to it, and you'll see right now with the battery, or with the car off, I get 12.94. So if you hold that there for a minute, you shouldn't really see a drop because there's no power being pulled from it. So now, let's see, if it stays like that, I'm going to try to set this up where we can watch it. Let's see if I can set you guys up for a second. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside the car, and I'm going to turn the lights on and see if we get a different reading. Now you see that I did that. Now you can actually see it's dropping. It's pulling that power from the battery. That's headlights, marker lights, dash lights, what have you. Okay, so we know it's pulling power, and we know it was holding a charge. So let's turn it back on. Now the power's going back up. So what I want to do, make sure everything's out of the way here, is we're going to start the car and see how that changes, or if it does change, or if it holds any. Now we've got the car running, So now I'm just going to come back over here like this. I'm going to touch this back in here like that. Now you see it's gone up to 14.49 to 14.5. Okay, so now it's holding steady between 14.9 and 14.5. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to turn the headlights on, just so it's pulling some kind of power. Okay, so headlights on, marker lights on. We're still at 14.5 to 14.1. Okay, so now we're going to go over here real fast. I'm going to turn the lights off. Okay. Still at 14.5, so we're doing good. Okay. So, now let's turn the car back off again. Car's fully off now. No power anywhere. So now we're down about 13.5 roughly. And really, when you're watching this number that I just covered up is less important than the first 3 digits there. That's your most important. So on the top end, you want to be 14.5. So if you covered this digit up, if that said 14.5, you know you're good. You're charging. On the flip side of that, on the lower end, the reading is on the low end 11.8, on the high end 14.5. So if you're within those parameters, you're good. So you'll actually watch that kind of steadily drop off. So that's one way to do it if you have a multimeter, but not everybody has a multimeter. So I thought, for the sake of saying that you don't have a multimeter, let's just pretend we don't have one. We're going to try something else. Get out my wrench. So, it's loose. Okay. So what I've done is I've loosened I've loosened the bolt or the nut for the negative battery post. So what we're going to do, we should still be able to start. Reach in here. Okay. So now, what we're going to do is say, for the sake of argument, we've determined that the battery is charging, right? Okay. But you're still getting kind of, or let's say for the sake of argument that you're having issues, your lights are dimming out, or your car feels whatever, or it cuts out on you a lot and the battery seems really weak. So we're going to grab this with the car running. Okay. Now that's off, right? So let's just set that right there for a moment. Okay. Pull the multimeter back out. I just want to show you something. The car's still running. The negative cable's over here. The only thing connected to the battery is the positive. So now, I'm going to set a positive in there, like that. Now I'm going to take this. So what does that tell us? Let's go ahead and connect this back on, and then we'll kind of go over this a little bit. There we go. So what does this tell us? Well, it tells us two things. In my particular case, it tells me one, that my battery is good, and it tells me for another that my alternator is charging, and that my alternator is in relatively good shape. Now, how I determine that is simply based on the sole factor that when I took that negative battery cable off with the car running, it was still reading in at 13.5. So if you actually leave that cable off for a minute while with it running, and then you plug it back in, or hook it back up, and then you hook a multimeter to it, and it's dropped below that 13.5 threshold, then you might have a problem with your alternator charging your battery. So we check this, right? So we know it's charging. So let's just go with this for a moment. We're going to say for the sake of argument that this is dropping in charge. Okay. Now most people are going to go straight to the fact that, oh, battery's bad battery. Well, we don't know that. It could be the alternator. There's a couple of different ways you can test an alternator, but that was the simplest way, the quickest. Just unhook the negative battery cable with the car running. If it starts to stall or sputter or anything like that, then it's a good possibility that the alternator's bad. But let's say for the sake of argument, we know the battery's not staying charged. It's slowly draining down. We did that test, and with the car running, it's fine. And we've determined that the alternator is at least putting out enough to maintain it. So we have a pretty good idea that it's at least somewhat working. So for the sake of the argument, we're going to say that this is working. Well, the next thing you can come to is your belt tight enough on that alternator pulley to generate the type of voltage through the generator that runs through the cables all the way over here to that battery to charge that battery. So a lot of people, if you go to like a Quick Lube or somewhere like that and you have your battery tested and they say, oh, your battery's bad, or even if they sometimes say it's good, it's not 100% determination, because it doesn't mean that your battery is always bad. I mean, you can look at this battery. This battery is from 11/21. We're in, today's date is 7/28 of 2024. So once again, 11/21. So November of 2001. This alternator, I don't know if you can see that or not, right there, that's an original Toyota manufactured alternator. This hasn't been replaced ever. This is the original alternator from 1997. So let's say, let's go one more option. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that let's say for the sake of argument, you did the multimeter and you wasn't getting a very good reading. It kind of fluctuated this, that, or the other, okay? Something else to try before automatically saying, oh, the battery's bad or the alternator's bad. Check your post, your battery post. Let me show you. Don't look at this so much, but look how clean that post is. Look how clean that post is. That looks bad, but that's actually a brown piece of plastic, so it's irrelevant. That's overall pretty clean. That's overall pretty clean. You can see my copper is still relatively clean. All of this that you see on here is actually a chemical. It's a corrosion resistance for batteries that you can get from parts houses and whatnot, so that you can actually spray it to help protect it. Now, had we, let's say for the sake of argument that yours doesn't look like that. Yours has blue, looks like pixie stick type powder on it or something like that. What you would want to do is not do what your grandpa used to do with the old pocket knife. It'd get you by in a pinch, but I don't recommend doing it. Get you one of these or something similar to this. You have these brushes here for the actual terminal so that you can get in there and crank away at it. And then you have this hole and this hole for your actual battery post. You just stick that on there, twist and turn it a few times, get all that corrosion off. Put it back together, do your readings again. If you don't have one of these are actually really cheap. This one came from the old Harbor Freights. I think it was maybe $3 or $4. They're really inexpensive. And then once you get it clean, maybe get you some corrosion spray. You can get that in small canisters from parts houses for $4 or $5. Something else you can do, I've seen people do, is like a mixture of baking soda and Coca-Cola. Just pour it on there, let it fizz, do its thing, and then just take you some regular distilled water and just rinse off in that area. You'll be fine. But yeah, that's a few quick ways to be able to determine if your battery is actually good or bad. And then by pulling the terminal off, that also help you determine on if it may not be necessarily be your battery, but it could have the potential of being the alternator. But then, once again, if you think it's an alternator, always check your belts. If you go to mess with the alternator at all, you'll see there's all of this that comes down and what have you right behind this little protective sleeve right here. That's the main power bolt. That's what sends the power from here to there. So if you ever go to mess with this, make sure you unhook that, because if you don't unhook that and you go to wrench on that and you touch something, you're gonna get a nice little tickle. You're gonna ride the lightning. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the quickest little DIY, how to check your own battery and not be sucked into going into these quick lubes or what have you. Now you can go to AutoZones. They have battery testers that they'll bring out to the car. They'll hook it up and it'll basically do the same thing the multimeter will do. And then if you think your alternator might be bad, you can do that quick little test, and then there's some other tests that you can do with the multimeter on the alternator itself to see if it's outputting a certain amount of voltage. But also, if you don't feel comfortable with that, or you don't have the tools to do that, you can always take it to Once again, you can take it to an AutoZone or O'Reilly's. They can usually have some type of system there that will allow them to test your alternator for you. Or if you have a 1997 or newer, you can get a scan tool, and on most newer cars, it'll tell you through a multimeter, depending on which one you have, if your alternator's bad or not. But that's it. Real quick and simple. It was just something I drove by, seen the sign, and I just thought maybe, instead of getting you sucked into a $40 oil change or a coolant flush or what have you, just because you want to get your battery checked, um, why not just check it yourself? And you get to learn something you can use not only on car batteries. You can use that multimeter in you can do regular battery, little double A's, triple A's, 9 volts. Uh, you can do motorcycle batteries, boat batteries, ATVs, lawnmowers, just pretty much any of them. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hopefully somebody's learned something. Um, I'm digging the new T-shirt. I actually like it. Kind of cool to have my own little T-shirt, my own little logo on my T-shirt. I like that. Um, and yeah, as always, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Uh, Remember to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. Um, every like and share helps out the channel, helps it grow. And I'll see you guys next time.